Planning in the Experienced Economy. Planning the Experienced Economy is based on a book by Joe Pine and James Gilmore, and it recognizes experiences as a distinct economic offering and provides the key to future economic growth. There are some interesting ideas in the whole concept of the experience economy. Economic development can be about providing experiences. One of the best examples we'll find is the Riverwalk in San Antonio. San Antonio is a hot city, but to go along the river one floor down, one story down from the main street of the city, where it's much cooler, where there are trees, where there are water, provides a wonderful amenity for outdoor restaurants, river traffic, and a real tourist experience, and has done a lot to revitalize downtown San Antonio. On a smaller scale, we see something similar with the Cabela's store in Dundee, Michigan, where they have put a large representative mountain with animals and streams and fish in the middle of the store. So going shopping is more than just buying goods, but also the experience of seeing this magnificent interior setting. Part of the idea of experiences is what we refer to as third places, or where people come to meet. The first place is your house, the second place is your area of work, but the third place is where you tend to hang out and meet your neighbors and experience this sense of community. This is all represented in a wonderful book from Ray Oldenburg called A Great Good Place. Third places may be a neighborhood market with a few tables on the sidewalk where you can go over and get an ice cream cone in the evening. It may be a place like Zingerman's Deli, where much of Ann Arbor comes to have a sandwich outdoors and meet their friends and neighbors and have an interchange. And of course, one of the most significant third places established in recent decades is the interior of Starbucks stores, where you can go and in no hurry have a cup of coffee and just chat. Starbucks represents a good example of the idea of the experience economy and how experiences can promote itself into economic development. To do that, we take a chart from the book that refers to the economics of experience economy. And we see that, first of all, there are extracted commodities. We could take the example for Starbucks of coffee beans. Raw coffee beans are grown in Brazil and sold on the wholesale market. These are then made into goods, such as roasting the beans and making them into coffee. This coffee then can be a service by being made into a cup of coffee and being sold as a cup of coffee. And finally, the Starbucks example says a cup of coffee can have an experience connected with it. And as this undifferentiated product becomes more differentiated, it becomes more of a premium product with a lot of value added to it. As is shown on this chart, the commodity itself, the price of a coffee bean, is relatively low. As a roasted coffee bean, it is increased in value, but it really increases in value when it becomes a cup of coffee and is sold that way. But then when Starbucks takes it and adds whipped cream and gives it a fancy name and mixes different things with it and creates a place for you, all of a sudden the value of this coffee becomes tremendously greater. And so something that may sell for 25 cents a pound now becomes like $4 or $5 a pound as a result of this. This is the economics of the experience economy. And so the cost of a coffee bean when harvested is 50 cents. The value realized by Starbucks from selling that cup of coffee per pound is $230 per pound. A tremendous increase in value added. How does this relate to towns? Where can we give experiences? Where can we add value? One of the best examples may be a local historic theater. Once again, as we remember the chart, it has a commodity, and the commodity is the film. But there is value added to this commodity. because they also have the goods, the theater, where you go to see the film and see it with a crowd and enjoy it together. So this now becomes an increased use of this commodity. They also have service, such as providing comfortable seats and the popcorn and the soda and the smell of the popcorn, even. All of these provide an experience by going to the theater. And it sometimes is more than the movie itself, but as we see at Radio City Music Hall, the experience of the Rockettes, or with the Michigan Theater in Ann Arbor, the Barton Organ. They have an organ concert before most of the movies, so it becomes a true experience. So we see how experiences can increase urban areas into something greater than what they may be in their more rudimentary form. There is a fifth step in this process too, and that's when you go beyond the experience and it becomes transformational. And one of the best examples of this is an area of Grand Rapids, which is known as the Wealthy Street area, a part of town that is anything but wealthy and is one of the poorest parts of the city. And there was a need for a change to this community. As we see on the left side of this photo, the Wealthy Theater was decrepit, vacant, and really was not providing any kind of a community resource. But businesses raised the curtain on the Wealthy Theater, and the community established a new organization, the Southeast Economic Development Corporation, to see if they could create a sense of community by renewing this theater. This is what the Wealthy Theater looks like as it goes in, as you enter it before restoration. But with the funding to make this renovation, this rehab, we see a dramatic transformation of the theater into something much more beautiful, and a place where students, high school students, can come and do performances, where the community can have small theater things, and all of a sudden the community has a life to it, a center of the neighborhood that it's very proud of. The Wealthy Theater became a very successful project for the wealthy neighborhood, Wealthy Street neighborhood, and provided a true transformational experience for the neighborhood. And all of a sudden the retail around this neighborhood came back to life. This 30-year-old retail and barbershop survived the decline and benefited once again from this revitalization. As did Lady Love, one of the other businesses in the city. And here we see the Rhodes Ribcage. It was there since 1972, but all of a sudden it became a stable business in a stable neighborhood. And we see that the Rhodes, Thelma Rhodes says, "I see people walking down the sidewalk unafraid." It's beautiful once again. And so it becomes a transformational experience. And so we see that the experience economy is a wonderful way to look at how to add value to the urban experience by creating special places. This is the experience economy.